Check, 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 check. I request all the delegates and the audience to remain seated. The program is about to start. Okay. Check, done. Noam Chomsky once said, "Not all evils can be rectified, but ongoing evils surely should stop." Good morning to the esteemed panel, delegates, and audience gathered here today. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the panel discussion on Israel-Palestine, the unending war. This is a conflict that has shaped geopolitics for decades, evoking deep emotions, complex narratives, and ongoing humanitarian concerns. Through this panel discussion, we hope to elucidate the audience regarding the various perspectives held by different stakeholders in this conflict. This will not only enrich one's understanding about the conflict itself, but it will also provide a nuanced and multidimensional view. Before I begin, I would like to make a very important disclaimer. The views expressed by the participants today represent the positions of the countries that they represent, and they do not necessarily reflect their personal opinions. This is not just about understanding history, it's about understanding the present and envisioning a future where peace is not just an aspiration, but a reality. I encourage everyone to listen with an open mind, engage with thoughtful questions, and foster a space for respectful dialogue. With that, I would like to invite Mr. Satyapal Deepak Sir, Faculty, Political Science and International Relations Optional, to give his opening remarks and initiate the panel discussion. I would also like to invite Mr. Junaid Ahmed Sir, Faculty, GMT Tests, onto the stage.
Good morning, all. Okay, so in Kingmaker mind, like Israel-Palestine issue, Russia, Ukraine, death penalty this week, okay, whether death penalty should be there or not. So like that, we have a lot of debates to come in the future. Our purpose is to make Kingmakers and those who are attending this panel discussion to have a multi-dimensionality. Okay, fine. So with respect to Israel-Palestine issue, happy that ceasefire has started. Okay, when we planned this program, the fight was so intense. Okay, but now ceasefire is there, so we should be happy. So I will be moderating along with Junaid, okay, this session. As Akshay said, every one of the delegate will come forth here and put forward their point of view. First, they will make a brief statement, okay, of their side view, and then we will have question answer session where we have a question team, media team, okay, so they will observe their speech, on spot questions they'll create and ask. We encourage audience also to ask the questions, okay, so your questions will be more spontaneous and in layman terms, okay, so we wish more questions come so that you make this entire panel discussion lively, okay, and as Akshay said, as disclaimer is that okay, we have asked the delegates to be exactly the pure delegate of the respective countries. Okay, they will not bring the India lens before them, okay, except the Indian team. Okay, all other will talk for the stakeholders they are representing here. So in case if any over-opinionated statement is made, okay, please understand it is purpose is academic, the purpose is to have a multi-dimensional perspective, that's all, okay, fine. So I hand over the mic to Akshay. She will be organizing.
Thank you, sir. So with that, the panel discussion. Firstly, I would like to invite Ms. Nisha Arun, the delegate of Saudi Arabia, to present her opening statement.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, as the representative of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I stand before this assembly today with a heavy heart. bearing all the collective voices of the Arab and Islamic nations. The suffering of the Palestinian people, exacerbated by the ongoing aggression, remains a matter of urgent concern for the kingdom as well as all the global community. For over 7 decades, Palestinian people have endured violence and systematic displacement. Despite repeated calls for peace, Israel's illegal occupation continues to deny the Palestinians their fundamental rights, which includes the right to self-determination. The recent escalation in Gaza has resulted in unimaginable devastation, with thousands of years lost, thousands of lives lost, and entire community being displaced. While we acknowledge the progress made under the Abraham Accord in fostering diplomatic relationship with Israel and certain Arab nations based on the principle of mutual understanding, respect, and cooperation, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia maintains its unwavering commitment to Palestinian cause. We believe just and lasting peace in the region can only be achieved through a comprehensive solution that addresses the legitimate rights and aspiration of the Palestinian people. We affirm just and lasting peace cannot be achieved without addressing the core concerns, which includes the establishment of independent Palestinian state based on 1967 border. We believe the peace and security in the Middle East can only be attained through establishment of viable two-state solution that guarantees the rights, dignities of the Palestinian people. The kingdom's position is clear. The kingdom will not cease its tireless efforts to establish an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. And we affirm the kingdom establish any diplomatic relationship with Israel unless and until a clear Palestinian state is being established, as stated by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. In closing, let us unite in our pursuit of justice, peace, prosperity for Palestinian people. As a member of international community, Saudi Arabia emphasized the importance of upholding international law, especially Article 38 of the UN Charter, which emphasizes peaceful disclosure of issues and disputes rather than violence. Saudi Arabia remains committed to supporting efforts aimed at achieving just and lasting peace of the Palestinian people. As this year, UN has recognized March 20 as the Day of Happiness, we view the ceasefire as a positive step ahead and hope for a permanent ceasefire, especially even withdrawal of Israel from the conflict would ensure a secure and peaceful path forward for all involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha. Now I invite the delegate of Russia, Ms. Arunisha, onto the dais.
Good morning, everybody, and distinguished delegates and the chair. I am here to represent Russia in front of you, and I like to start my statement here. The Russian Federation stands deeply concerned about the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict, which has caused immense suffering, destabilized the region, and heightened global tension. Our stance is guided by a commitment to peace, justice, and international law. Russia supports a two-state solution based on pre-1967 border with East Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. Historically, we have pursued balanced diplomacy in the Middle East. From condemning Israeli action during the Sixth Day and Yom Kippur War to facilitating peace talks during the Oslo Accords, Russia has consistently promoted peaceful resolutions. Russia in recent years have provided 27 tons of humanitarian aids to Gaza, condemning settlement expansion and urged de-escalation during moments of heightened violence. The tragic events since October 2023 underline the consequences of unresolved disputes with thousands killed, millions displaced, and Gaza facing a severe humanitarian crisis. The Russian Federation urges the international community to prioritize humanitarian relief to address critical shortage of food, water, and medical supplies, protection of civilians with a focus on upholding international law and human rights, comprehensive peace negotiation, including a return to dialogue mediated by impartial international actors. These talks must address core issues such as border, the status of Jerusalem, security arrangement, and the right Palestinian refugees to return. Regional stability, as the escalation involving neighboring state and the non-state actors like Hezbollah and Iranian-backed militias risk wider conflict. All parties must exercise restraint to prevent further escalation. And we also call for immediate investigation into violations to uphold justice and accountability. While Russia supports the proposed 6-week ceasefire, it must lead to a long-term solution rooted in justice and mutual aspiration. Russia has consistently advocated for comprehensive dialogue, as I mentioned before, to address the Israel-Palestinian conflict. Last year, President Putin expressed his concern for the plight of Palestinians during a meeting with Mohammed Abbas in Moscow, reiterating support for their aspiration to establish a fully sovereign state. He has repeatedly emphasized that lasting peace between Israel and Palestine requires reconciliation through established international legal frameworks. Russia has maintained relations with both Israel and Palestine, hosting conferences with Palestinian factions such as Hamas, Fatah, and Islamic Jihad to foster unity. Though our influence is limited by resistance from other major powers, Russia remains committed to advancing the two-state solution through UN frameworks. The Russian Federation highlights the double standard of international conflict in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. The US and EU condemn Russia and supported Ukraine's sovereignty strongly. However, in the Israel-Palestine conflict, the response has been inconsistent. They have failed to condemn attacks on civilian infrastructures, blockades, and humanitarian crisis in Gaza, contradicting the stand commitment, which is two-state solution, to human rights and self-determination. Russia's stance is informed by opposition to unilateral measures including settlement expansion, eviction, and blockades, which exacerbate tension and undermine the prospect of negotiated settlements. At the same time, Russia recognizes Israel's legitimate right to security and condemn all forms of terrorism and violence targeting the civilians. Russia has called for restraint from all parties and emphasized the importance of returning to peaceful negotiation under the framework of international law and respectively UN resolutions. Finally, the Russian Federation calls on the international community to embrace diplomacy and multilateralism in addressing this crisis. The ongoing conflict undergoes the urgent need for a renewed collective effort to end the cycle of violence for 7 decades and foster a just and lasting peace for all people in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anunisha. I now invite Mr. Mohammed Rafi, the delegate of Lebanon, to present his opening statement.
Good morning, respected panel, my co-delegates and dear participants. So I am here to represent the country of Lebanon. So I, as a delegate of Lebanon, stand before this esteemed assembly to delve into the intricate and multifaceted role of Lebanon in the protracted Israel-Palestine conflict. This conflict, deeply enrooted in history, has significantly impacted Lebanon, shaping its political landscape, social fabric, and security environment in profound ways. The historic ties between regions, now known as Lebanon and Palestine, run deep. From ancient civilization, witnessing the rise and fall of empires, to the Ottoman era, these lands have shared intertwined histories, cultural exchanges, and overlapping claims. However, the emergence of Zionism in the late 19th and the early 20th centuries, with its aim to establishing a Jewish homeland in Palestine, sowed the seeds of discord that would later escalate into a protracted and devastating conflict. The 1948 Arab-Israel War proved to be watered moments, thrusting Lebanon directly into the conflict. The establishment of the State of Israel led to a mass exodus of Palestinian refugees, many of whom sought refuge in Lebanon. This influx has profound and enduring impact on Lebanon, exacerbating existing sectarian tensions and contributions to the outbreak of devastating Lebanese civil war between 1975 and 1990. The presence of Palestinian factions within Lebanon, coupled with internal political and sectarian divisions, fueled the conflict, leading to widespread violence and displacements. The period following the period of civil war witnessed a series of conflicts that further entrenched the involvement of Lebanon in the never-ending Israel-Palestine conflicts, the 1978 South Lebanon conflicts, the 1982 Lebanon War, and the 2006 Lebanon War, all of which involved Israeli military incursions into Lebanon, inflicted significant human and material losses for the country. These conflicts not only exacerbated internal tensions, but also solidified the presence of Palestinian factions with Lebanon, adding another layer of complexity to the country's internal dynamics. The role of Lebanese leaders in shaping the stance of Lebanon on this ongoing conflicts has been significant and multifaceted. Figures like Kamel Chamon, a former Lebanese president, championed staunch opposition to Israel and unwavering support for the Palestinian cause. In contrast, figures like Rafiq Hariri, the former prime minister, advocated for peaceful coexistence and dialogue with Israel while prioritizing the national interest of our nation. On another half, the voice of Hezbollah, a powerful political and military force in Lebanon, has arguably held that the most sway in recent years. Hezbollah, which was led by the Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah, remained as a vocal critic of Israel and staunch supporters of Palestinian rights, significantly influencing the foreign policy of Lebanon on a particular issue. The 2021 Gaza conflict, while primarily centered in Gaza, has a significant implications for Lebanon as well. The escalation of violence underscores the fragility of regional security and highlighted the interconnected nature of the conflict. While officially maintaining neutrality, the position of Lebanon on this conflict remained complex and multifaceted. While it has consistently supported the Palestinian right to self-determination and condemned Israeli action against Palestinians, the influence of Hezbollah and the country's own security concern continue to shape its response. Recently, the new president of Lebanon has demanded that Israel must withdraw from the country's southern region by 26th Jan as a deadline, which was agreed in the agreement signed during Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire. The continued violation of Israeli on land and in air, especially in terms of blowing up houses and destroying the border villages, completely contradicts what was stated in the ceasefire agreement and is considered a continuation of violence of Lebanese sovereignty and the will of international community, said by our new President Joseph Aoun. Since then, the Lebanese army deploying its army gradually in the further areas of South Lebanon along with the UN peacekeeping force, as Israel military troops have gradually withdrawn. Lebanon's role in the Israel-Palestine conflict is deeply intertwined with its own history, internal struggle, and the regional dynamics. Addressing this complex issue requires a comprehensive approach that considers the historical context, the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian refugees, the security concerns of all parties involved, and the need for foster and promote a lasting and just peace for all. Finally, I would like to conclude with the famous quote said by Nelson Mandela. The greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Rafi. I now invite Ms. Sonia Shri, the delegate of India, onto the dais to present her opening statement.
Honorable Chairman, Excellencies, and respectable delegates, greetings on behalf of 1.4 billion people of India. We have assembled here in the beginning of a whole new prosperous year with new ambitions, new targets, new efforts, and renewed cooperation and coordination. India renders its wishes to all, being a nation that has a rich heritage and respected tradition. India, in this context, it is of higher significance that we have gathered here. And for the past 15 months, the land of Gaza and Palestinian residents have envisaged a heart-wrenching loss of thousands of lives and continued disturbance over the land of Israel and Palestine that had reached beyond what could be called as the limits of a humanitarian crisis. It all began with a terrific event on 7th October 2023 when the Palestine-based militant group led an attack that ended up in the killing of more than 1,000 on the side of Israel and more than 200 being taken as captives. It triggered everything that followed. Based on the latest news reports, the casualties in Gaza, where the Palestinians live in large number, account to around 46,700 who had been killed, including civilians and militants, of which miserably 17,400 are children. On the side of Israel, the numbers of 1,100 and 8,700 that depict the number of killings and those who are injured. It is high time to look for a resolution that would enable for a peace deal which would ensure a peaceful survival for the people in that land after several months of pain and cry. In this respect, the world has long witnessed the stand of India in global politics, where it had put forth well-framed policy and support towards establishment of an independent and viable state of Palestine with recognized borders existing peacefully alongside Israel. It is clearly evident that this nation, which has stood for non-alignment in a global scenario where the East and West stood widely differentiated, has even reflected a strong and long-standing support to the state of Palestine. And it could be explicitly noted that India was the first non-Arab country to accept Palestinian Liberation Organization as the legitimate representative of Palestinian people and recognized the state of Palestine in the year 1988. India has always played a proactive role in gathering support for the Palestine cause in multilateral fora. After the terror attack on Israel on 7th October 2023, India has strongly expressed its condemn against terrorism and injustice that is done in the manner of killing innocent civilians in the conflict between Israeli Defense Force and Hamas, the militant group that is located in Gaza. India has also given a call for restraint and de-escalation in the region and backed a peaceful resolution that could be brought by means of dialogue and diplomacy. In addition, our Honorable Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister have spoken to the top brass of the government of Israel, including the President, Prime Minister, and Foreign Minister, as well with the President and Foreign Minister of Palestine, for bringing out an end to the ongoing violence that is costing several innocent lives. In response to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, being the first responder in several situations of crisis in the geopolitics, India has contributed around 70 tons of humanitarian aid that comprised of 16.4 tons of medicines in 2 tranches in the year 2023. In the fourth quarter of 2024, India has sent around 65 tons of life-saving medicines to UN Relief Works and Agency and Palestinian Ministry of Health. On the other hand, India, since its history, has always stood against terrorism. And even in this case of conflict, the initial tragic event of terror attack that claimed the lives of Israeli citizens was swiftly condemned by our Honorable Prime Minister, and he extended his support to Israel with regard to that attack. Being a nation that has borne the brunt of terrorism on numerous occasions, India remained clear in backing nations against hostile terrorist activities. Our Honorable Prime Minister had a conversation with his Israeli counterpart where they both denounced terrorism in all its manifestations. The Ministry of External Affairs has also taken proactive measures, including chartering flights to ensure the safe return of Indian citizens who are currently working or studying in Israel. under the mission called Operation Ajay. Though we have a long-standing and in various fields bilateral relations with Israel, India's relationship with Israel is not devoid of its long-standing support for the cause of Palestinian state. In the context of Israel and Hamas conflict, the recent announcement of a ceasefire deal with exchange of hostages among the two parties is gratefully welcomed, and more than that, the opening up of ways to provide critical aid to the people of Gaza, a population that has been heavily hit with a shortage of essential resources and aid, and is a news of big relief. Hopefully, this progress may soon turn up with events that shall result in a constructive planning for a post-war rebuilding of Gaza and a rehabilitation of the affected community. Having born in the birthplace of Buddha, the renowned symbol of kindness and compassion, I would like to quote his uttering here. Buddha says, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule." We all clearly understand that raging violence and continued violent retaliations from either side would never serve peace and goodness to humanity. And with the significance that the year of 2025, which is now recognized as the International Year of Peace and Trust, may this initial piece of ceasefire lead a path of peace and prosperity that would bring a ray of hope in the hearts of thousands of people who have lost their loved ones and have been living in the echoes of violence and distress. Let us all stand as well as join together for bringing peace among the nations and in developing trust among us, thereby curbing any possibility of developing hostilities. India strongly wishes that members of this Honorable Assembly would consistently strive towards the advancements with resilience, cooperation, and continue to promote the functioning of this global network and contribute in enabling this whole network of nations to be resilient and combative enough to work for sustainability and in mitigating the pacing challenges of climate change disasters rather than falling out with conflicts and misunderstandings of our own. Hence, let us look forward for a time of peaceful coexistence, close and progressive cooperation to let this human race survive for long. Thank you, Mr. President, Excellencies and delegates.
Thank you, Ms. Sonia. I request Mr. Kalyan Sir, Chief Coordinator, Kingmakers IAS Academy, to come to the dais. Now I invite Mr. Arun Kumar, the delegate of United States, onto the dais to present his opening statement.
Warm welcome to all and my dear friends and warm welcome to all my dear friends and the panel members. I am representative of USA and I am Arun Kumar, and I am going to speak about the view of United States of America in an ongoing Israel and Palestine conflict. America's support for the Jewish people extends before the creation of State of Israel. In 1919, 2 years after the Balfour Declaration, in which the British government declared its support for the creation of a Jewish homeland in Palestine, America played a key role in making this a reality. The USA was also the first country to recognize Israel as an independent state in 1948, when President Harry Truman issued a statement of recognition following Israel's proclamation of independence. Such support has been given throughout different administrations, and several milestones have been made thanks to the effort of President like Jimmy Carter, who brokered the Camp David Accord of 1978. This normalized the former tense relation between Israel and other countries in West Asia like Egypt, paving way for normalization of more ties with other nations in the future. The US has also extended its support by providing over $3 billion in foreign military financing annually. It also engages in high level of exchange with Israel, including joint military exercise, military research, and weapon development. In 2016, President Barack Obama signed a defense agreement with Israel, providing $38 billion with American support for over 10 years, including funding for Iron Dome missile defense system. In 2024, America announced the deployment of THAAD system, which include 100 troops to intercept ballistic missile attacks from Iran and its proxies. Emergency aid and wartime procurement, $8.7 billion aid package for Israel and $5.2 billion for air defense system like Iron Dome, etc. Congress approved $14.3 billion in emergency military assistance and $9.2 billion for humanitarian aid, and proposed $8 billion arms emergency military assistance. Sales include medium range air-to-air missile for aerial defense, 155 millimeter artillery shells for long-range strikes, Hellfire, AGM 114 missiles and 500-pound bomb. In August 2024, over 500 aircraft delivered and 107 sea shipment to Israel for over 50,000 tons of munition and weapon system. Israel is the only democratic ally of USA in Middle East. Israel, along with Egypt, Jordan, and Gulf states, USA military ally against onslaught of Iran-backed terror groups. Israel engaged in long-standing intelligence cooperation, sharing information on common security threats, collaborating technology development with USA. Much of technology of advanced weapon majorly developed in Israel. President Biden said that were there not an Israel, the USA would have to invent Israel to protect interest in Middle East. The USA Department said that maintaining the US state fast support for Israel is a top priority for Trump. And also Secretary conveyed that he looked forward to addressing threat posed by Iran and posing opportunity for peace. Qualitative military aid has been a conceptual backbone of US military aid to Israel for decades, and it was formally enshrined in US law in 2008. It requires the US government to maintain Israel's ability to defeat any conventional military threat from any individual state or possible coalition of states or from non-state actor while sustaining minimal damage and casualties. So as long as threat towards Israel prevail in the region, the United States of America will remain steadfast in providing support to our democratic ally. History teaches that securing US interest, one of which is undeniably maintaining some semblance of global stability, doesn't happen without effort. It requires America and its ally to protect power into dangerous neighborhood, defending border and the principle of sovereignty, promoting norms of behavior, ensuring freedom of the seas, and fighting terrorism and piracy. With that, I conclude my opening statement. Thank you.
I now invite Ms. Ayla Kannan, the delegate of Palestinian Authority, to present her opening statement.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates and the audience, good morning. I stand before you today as a representative of the Palestinian Authority to address an issue that has haunted the Middle East for over 7 decades, the Israel-Palestine conflict. We will not leave. Palestine is our homeland. It is a land of our fathers and grandfathers. It will remain ours, and if anyone were to leave, it would be the occupying ones. The Palestinian people have long been subjected to oppression, displacement, and violence, all while striving for the recognition of their rights and the establishment of an independent sovereign state. The occupation of Palestinian territories, including East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, remains a stark violation of international law, particularly UN resolutions such as 242 and 338, which calls for the withdrawal of Israeli forces from these occupied lands. The very existence of our people has been undermined by the continued expansion of illegal settlements and the systematic denial of basic rights and freedoms. We have repeatedly warned in the General Assembly that the situation in the occupied land of the state of Palestine showing signs of an explosion, and it has happened. On October 7th of 2024, Israel continues to commit war crimes as acknowledged by the international community. Israel has destroyed Gaza almost entirely, that it is no longer fit for life. Thousands have died because of the spread of disease and epidemics and the shortages in medicine and water. As this war of aggression continues, dozens are being killed every day and double the amount is being injured amongst our people in Gaza Strip and in the West Bank and in Jerusalem. Stop the genocide, stop sending weapons to Israel. The entire world is responsible for what is happening to our people in the Gaza and the West Bank. If Israel thinks it would get away from being held accountable and punished for these crimes, then it is delusional. The international community must impose sanctions on Israel. Rights will never be lost as long as there are those who demand them. We regret that the US administration, the largest democracy in the world, obstructed 3 times the draft resolution in the Security Council demanding Israel to observe a ceasefire. It did by using veto. It furnished Israel with deadly weapons. The Palestinian Authority firmly believes that peace is not just a hope, but a right, our right. A 2-state solution based on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as a capital of Palestine is a only viable pathway to a lasting peace. We have consistently shown our willingness to negotiate, but Israel's refusal to halt settlement expansion and its repeated violations of international law make meaningful negotiations increasingly difficult. Furthermore, the humanitarian situation in Gaza remains dire. The repeated military escalations has left millions of Palestinians in Gaza living in desperate conditions. The international community must hold Israel accountable for its collective punishment of civilians and its disregard for human dignity. We call on the United Nations to take decisive action in addressing these injustices. It is time for the international community to ensure that Israel adheres to its obligations under international law and to end the occupation of Palestinian territories. We ask for the recognition of Palestine as a full member state of the UN and for the strengthening of the global commitment to a peaceful and just resolution to this conflict. We ask to adopt the ICJ's advisory opinion issued on the 19th of July 2024 to end the illegal Israeli occupation of the state of Palestine in a period of 12 months. For the first time, there has been a time frame. I take today to give you our view of what is needed immediately and on the day after war ends. Comprehensive and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, end to the military aggressions and attack by the terrorist settlers in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Humanitarian aid must be delivered urgently in an organized and in sufficient quantities. A full Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. International protection for the Palestinians on their lands, because we don't want to fight Israel. We cannot fight Israel, but we want to protect women, children, and families. And finally, I thank all the supporters of Palestinian cause. The occupation will end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ayelya. I now invite Mr. Ashik Mir and Moeddin, the delegate of Iran, to presenting his opening statement.
A warm greetings to all the dignitaries present here. I'm the representative of Islamic Republic of Iran, and I'm here to speak on Iran's view on the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict. The Israeli genocide that has been ongoing for almost 15 months has led to the killing of more than 46,600 people in Gaza, which includes women's and children's, as per the Palestinian Health Authority's data. Iran has been the primary advocate of Palestine. During 1947, Iran voted against the UN's partition plan, which was decided to divide the historical Palestinian land into Arab and Jewish states. Iran does not recognize the state of Israel. I repeat, Iran does not recognize the state of Israel. Since the creation of the Jewish state in 1948, Israel has been occupying Palestinian territories by settling Jewish people into Palestinian land in order to change the demography of the Arab majority Palestine into a Jewish majority one. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini has declared Israel an enemy of Islam and the little Satan, alongside United States, the great Satan. And his successor, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has declared Israel a cancerous tumor that should be removed from the region. Israel has been infringing the sovereignty of various nations in the region. During April 2024, Israel has killed several senior top commanders of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Syria. During July 31st of 2024, Israel has assassinated Ismail Haniyeh, the political leader of Hamas, on Iranian soil, thereby infringing the rights and sovereignty of the Iranian nation, and Iran will make sure that the occupying terrorist regime will regret its action. With respect to the land of Palestine, Israel views Palestine as one of the holy lands of the Muslim world and Jerusalem as the unchangeable capital of the Muslim world and Palestine. On November 29, 2023, during the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, the President of Iran has reiterated the unwavering support of the Iranian nation for the fulfillment of Palestinian aspirations. Iran observes the last Friday of every Ramadan as Quds Day to express support to Palestine and oppose the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories. Iran views the October 7 attack by Hamas as an attack of resistance against the continuous oppression that the Palestinian people has been facing from Israel. And Iranian President Mr. Raisi has said that Iranian nation will support the legitimate defense of the Palestinian people. I would like to conclude by saying that Iran rejects the existence of the state of Israel, and the people of Palestine, they have the right to self-determination. And Iran's stance on the Palestinian conflict is very clear. So Iran recommends conducting a referendum amongst all of the original inhabitants of the Palestine, which includes Muslims, Christians, and Jews, and the future of the political system of Palestine should be decided. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashik. I now invite Mr. Akash, the delegate of Hamas, to present his opening statement.
Good morning, one and all present here. 4,791, 1,417, 3,310, and now more than 47,000. These are not just figures. They are the invaluable Palestinian lives that were lost over the years due to the relentless attacks by the Israel. Honorable delegates and the audience gathered here this morning, I am a diplomatic representative of Hamas, the resistance movement that is presently engaged in a war with Hamas. and the settler state of Israel. Hamas fervently condemns the indiscriminate airstrikes on the civilian targets, the evacuation order, and the complete siege of Gaza. Such mindless acts have crippled the Palestinian nation and its children, most of whom are dead rather than alive. At this critical juncture, I would like to make it explicit that Hamas strives for Palestinian freedom and self-determination and does not recognize the existence of State of Israel. This has been the position of Hamas since its inception in 1987 and it remains unchanged. A 75-year-old occupation of Zionist settlers neglected and ignored all political and legal means to settle the conflict by denying the existence of Palestinians and their natural rights. Such actions can't go any further. That is why, in the early hours of October 7, the Al-Hassam brigades carried out a defensive action against Israeli aggression in the pursuit of protecting the rights and dignity of Palestinian lives. The decision to launch military operation was entirely Palestinian and not influenced by any external actors as portrayed in the mainstream media. I would like to clarify and present Hamas' position on few important things. First thing, Hamas on the behalf of Palestine does not accept the Balfour Declaration of 1917 and the Resolution 118 of the United Nations. Creation of Israel statehood was only made possible through decades of systematic oppression and the discrimination against the Palestinians. The forceful expulsion of Palestinians from their homeland was persistent, possessive, and cruel and murderous, all done with the deliberative attempts. Second thing, under the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's government, including far-right parties, opposes a Palestinian state and supports the annexing parts of West Bank and expanding illegal settlements and denying the Palestinian people rights. Third thing, Israel imposes a 17-year-old blockade of Gaza. As a result, a small overcrowded strip of land home to more than 2 million Palestinian lives has been inserted in a deep humanitarian crisis due to Israel's limitation of mobility of goods and people. Under the guise of military checks, Palestinian hospitals, camps, schools, and institutes have been ruthlessly attacked by the Israel's defensive force. This has made the Gaza the biggest open-air portion of Earth where a whole generation has lost even the smallest glimmer of hope. It is without a doubt complicit in the deliberate ethnic cleansing and even genocide of the Palestinian people, a crime against the humanity, and Israel continues to commit with impunity. Fourth thing, Hamas partially blames the current war with Israel on the destruction of Al-Aqsa Mosque by the Israel settlers. Israel has attempted to change the status quo of the mosque by dividing it spatially and temporarily. During Ramadan, Israeli forces stormed Al-Aqsa Mosque and used force against the worshippers, including women and the elderly. Long ago, it was settled that resistance and even armed struggle against a colonial occupation force is not just recognized under the international law, but specifically endorsed. Under international humanitarian law, wars of national liberation have been expressly embraced through the adaptation of Additional Protocol 1 to the Geneva Convention of 1949 as a protected and essential right of occupied people everywhere. Resolution 37 out of 43 of the UN General Assembly reaffirms the legitimacy of the struggle of people for independence, territorial integrity, national unity, and liberation from colonial and foreign domains and the foreign occupation by available means, including armed struggle. Finally, although a ceasefire has been implemented, it is insufficient, as the war has claimed around 47,000 lives and 1 lakh people are injured. Efforts must focus on rehabilitation those who have endured the horrors of the conflict. Around 67% of buildings are estimated to be damaged or destroyed with the cost over $18.5 billion, including hospitals, schools, shelters, and all types of infrastructures. Estimated that it cost $50 billion and it takes more than 30 years to rebuild the Gaza. At last, we are not just talking about the food, healthcare, building, roads or infrastructure. We are got individuals, families, communities that need to be rebuilt. If Ukrainians have a right to state and a life of dignity not ruled by neighboring state, then so do the Palestinians. Hamas calls upon all the free people around the world to shoulder their moral responsibilities towards the Palestinian cause. Hamas also urged the international community to take immediate action towards the creation of state of Palestine for which many Palestinians have lost their lives. At last, to conclude in one line, in this war, we lost over 69 years of progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rash. I now invite Ms. Sandhya, the delegate of Israel, to present her opening statement.
Good morning, everyone. A land without a people and a people without a land. As mentioned above, this phrase is associated with the movement to establish a Jewish homeland at Palestine. As I am none other, I am the delegate of Israel, standing before the esteemed body today, not to recount the tragic history of the conflict, but to urgently address its impact. The Israel conflict remains a constant source of instability. At its core, the conflict stems from claims to the same land, that is, Israel and Palestine. Israel, the Jewish land, Jewish state asserts its right to exist with secure and recognized borders, and the Palestinian people yearning for self-determination and aspire to an independent state. This legitimate aspiration is not wrong, but it must be attained through peace agreements. And we all are aware that on 7th November 2023, Hamas, a militant group in Palestine, had attacked Israel, which had killed nearly 1,139 peoples, and additionally 250 Israel peoples has been taken as hostages to Hamas militants. நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும், அதாவது இஸ்ரேல் வந்து பாலஸ்தீன்ல இருக்க ஒரு மிலிட்டன்ட் குரூப் ஹமாஸ்ன்றவங்க வந்து இஸ்ரேலை வந்து ஒரு சர்ப்ரைஸ் அட்டாக் பண்ணாங்க. அது மட்டும் இது இப்போ அட்டாக் பண்ணாங்களோ, அது நாட் அ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம். இட் ஹஸ் பீன் கண்டினியூஸ்லி த ஹமாஸ் ஹஸ் பீன் அட்டாக்கிங் அஸ் since we got independence as we created as a state. It's not that Hamas வந்து வெறும் இஸ்ரேல் பீப்புள்ஸை மட்டும் டார்கெட் பண்ணி அட்டாக் பண்ணல. They are targeting they have been attacked the peoples living in Israel. It may include the Palestine too, because Hamas has attacked the Palestinian peoples living in Israel. Hamas has been continuously using rockets to attack Israel civilians, and this had reached extreme levels too. To control this, Israel has discovered an Iron Dome, a technique to stop that rocket attacks, and they seemingly disregard the value of human life and have accused of using the Palestinian people as human shield while targeting populated areas in Israel. The Israel government has stated that Hamas has strategically placed its military infrastructure beneath civilian buildings, including hospitals, and has civilians as human shield. நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு கேள்வி இருக்கும், ஏன் வந்து பாலஸ்தீன்ல இருக்க ஸ்கூல்ஸ் அண்ட் பில்டிங்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து இஸ்ரேல் வந்து அட்டாக் பண்றாங்க? இட்ஸ் none other than the reason that Hamas has built a civilian buildings, that's infrastructure beneath the civilian buildings in the Palestinian peoples, in the Palestinian regions. That's the reason why Israel is attacking that schools and targeting that places. Whenever we are going to attain a peace, there always exist an obstacles. That obstacles is the main first obstacle is terrorism. That is the terrorist groups of Hamas and the Hezbollah, etc. We as a state faces threats from since the creation from 1948 from the neighboring states. And I repeat that we, the Israel state, won't vacate the place. It's our state. We have get recognized after the Second World War, where a genocide exists against the Jewish people, and as now only we have got a state to stay in Israel. And furthermore, decades of mistrust has created a wide gap between Israel and Palestine. As an Israel state, we are here to commit a peace, not a violence. Despite these challenges, Israel remains committed to a negotiated two-state solution where two sovereign states, Israel and Palestine, live side by side in peace and security. We believe that direct negotiation between the parties with genuine international support are the only path to the lasting resolutions. Democracy. You all know that Israel is the only democracy in the vast sea of autocratic regimes and monarchies. Israel has remained resilient against all forces and has sought to crush it. That is why I would like to call upon other democratic countries of the world to stand with Israel by emphasizing the sentiment that democracy should stand by another democracy. I repeat that democracy must stand with another democracy. So Israel called upon the international community by saying that all forms of terrorism must be condemned and hold Hamas accountable for all the action which has made in the past. And as a countermeasure of this Hamas attack, only the Israel state has acted as a defensive mode. It's not wrong for an individual or a nation to defend itself when under attack. This fundamental right to self-defense is universally recognized. When this ethic is applied, Israel's stand can be seen as a legitimate response to the aggression it faced. நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும் யாராவது ஒரு ஆள் நம்மள வந்து அட்டாக் பண்ணா சும்மா உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கோமா நாங்களும் திருப்பி அட்டாக் பண்ணுவோம். That's the way that Israel has acted. Israel remains open to the genuine and meaningful dialogue with our Palestinian neighbors. That's why we have accepted the ceasefire deal with Hamas and we halted the hostilities in good faith. We expect Hamas also to follow the ceasefire. And our Prime Minister has said the three reasons for the ceasefire establishment. And we believe that through courage, compromise, and shared commitment to peace, we can finally overcome this decades-long conflict, build a future hope and security for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandhya. Last but not the least, I now invite Ms. Devadarshini, the delegate of Amnesty International, to present her opening statement.
A warm morning to the respected panel, distinguished delegates, and all the audience. I'm here to represent the Amnesty International, an organization dedicated to defend human rights and accountability worldwide. The Israel-Palestine conflict is an enduring geopolitical crisis which has escalated a huge humanitarian disaster. The recent conflict has claimed the lives of about 47,000 people in Gaza and 1,400 people in Israel, with a countless amount of civilians, with women and children bearing the brunt of the violence. The recent reports of Amnesty International reveals all the human rights violation made by both the Israel and the forces of Hamas through the use of armed weapons, forceful evictions, and the suffocated blockades in Gaza. Amnesty International condemns the violations made by all the parties and urges for a strict adherence of the international humanitarian laws. The Geneva Convention, the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court serves as the foundation of our advocacy. The disproportionate use of armed weapons by Israel has led to a huge civilian casualty, and the indiscriminate use of rockets by Hamas forces in the civilian areas of Israel led to war crimes. The illegal settlements of Israel in the West Bank violates the Fourth Geneva Convention and undermines the rights of Palestine. The forced eviction made by Israel and Egypt in the places of Gaza
has affected the rights of people and restricted the access to basic needs like food, medical facilities, and other essential services. Additionally, journalists and activists had faced a large amount of harassments and forceful detention, which affected the freedom of speech and expression. Amnesty International calls for an immediate unconditional ceasefire to protect the civilians and to end the conflict. The ceasefire must identify the root cause of the conflict and ensure peace in the regions. The United Nations must play a pivotal role in bringing peace in the regions of Israel and Palestine through a ceasefire. International law must mandate the protection of civilians, schools, hospitals, and other essential needs. And human rights corridor must be established to ensure the free movement of goods, services, and other essential needs, especially through the Rafah crossing. Investigations on the war crimes must be made impartially to ensure accountability. The investigations of the International Criminal Code on the war crimes of both Israel and Hamas must be given full support. The blockades made by Israel in Gaza should be removed to ensure the freedom of people and the free movement of essential needs. Israel must end the occupations and the forced evictions to ensure the human rights of people. Palestine should have a right to self-determination, and the aspirations of the state must be addressed. A resolution must be happened with all the stakeholders, and all the interests of the stakeholders must be addressed. Amnesty International believes that peace should be attained through justice, accountability, and the respect to human rights. The Israel-Palestine conflict has created an immeasurable loss to all the people of Israel, Hamas, Palestine, and the Gaza. And the Amnesty International urges the United Nations and other international communities to act decisively. A ceasefire is not a mere solution to the hostilities. It serves as an initiative and a step to bring peace and the cooperation between Israel and Hamas, which ensures the sovereignty, security, and mutual respect of the human rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Devadarshini. And with that, we conclude the presentation of the opening statements. We will now move on to the next segment of the panel discussion, which is the counter-argument session. I will invite each delegate onto the podium, and you will be asked questions from your fellow delegates, which you should be able to tackle. So firstly, I will call upon the delegate of India, Ms. Sonia Shri. The co-delegates can direct the questions. Please pass the mic along if anybody has a question.
Okay. So I am the representative of Iran. I would like to ask to the Honorable Delegate of India that you said that India and Israel has jointly condemned terrorism. So Israel with its ongoing genocide, which has killed more than 46,600 people in Gaza, which includes both women and children. So what is India's view about Israel's action?
Respectable delegate, I welcome your question. Regarding your question on the loss of lives that Israel has caused due to the attack on Palestine, the manifestation or the handling that India has jointly done with Israel is against or on countering terrorism, but not just because costing lives of innocent people. It is not that terrorism is something that can be supported even in a meager level. Okay? And the country is very staunchly against the terrorist actions on either side, both on the side of Israel as well as Palestine, if it is costing the common lives. So India's stance is on countering terrorism, not to justify the loss of civilian life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, delegate of India. I am the delegate of Lebanon. Do you think, like, I have a statement first, like, in recent days, India is having close ties with Israel in space and defense technology. Do you
how does India view the impact of Hezbollah's conflict with Israel on the Palestinian refugee crisis in Lebanon? And what role can play India is promoting a peaceful resolution?
Respectable member, thanks for the question. So we have witnessed that Hezbollah, or in the whole, the country of Lebanon, is rendering its support for the state of Palestine. With respect to its support, India adds on with the moral stance that Lebanon has taken to support for the cause of Palestine, and to address the ambassador of Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. He has also insisted that he wishes for the strong support and the diplomatic stance and strength that India has to intervene, not directly, through diplomatically, to take part in the issue and continue to persist and promote for peace and resolution. Thank you.
Yes, as you said, you supporting the two nations theory of Palestine and Israel. The British also occupy, colonized in India, and also as an independence, they separated two countries, Pakistan and India. How could you say supporting the two nation theories of also in Palestine and Israel?
Can you clarify once again?
Okay. British also colonized in India and also. British வந்து இந்தியாவை ஆக்குபை பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க. அட் த டைம் ஆஃப் இண்டிபெண்டன்ஸ் வந்து பாகிஸ்தான் அண்ட் இந்தியா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ரெண்டும் டூ நேஷனாக பிரித்து தான் போனாங்க. அப்போ வந்து இந்தியா வந்து எகெயின்ஸ்ட் த டூ நேஷன் தியரி, ரைட்? அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது எப்படி பாலஸ்தீன் அண்ட் இஸ்ரேல் டூ நேஷன் தியராக பிரிக்கும்போது நீங்கள் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுறீங்க? உங்களுக்கு அதாவது இந்தியா அப்படின்னு பார்க்கும்போது இட் வாஸ் எகெயின்ஸ்ட் த தியரி. ஆஸ் ஆஃப் அதர்ஸ் அப்படின்னு பார்க்கும்போது ஹவு குட் பி கரெக்ட்?
Respectable delegate, thanks for the question. I would like to gladly answer for this. And with respect to the two-state solution that Britain has given to India was in a situation when it was a united and strongly united piece of land with ties all across the borders, and people were not actually or intrinsically thinking themselves to be separated just by drawing borders between them. It was not the scenario. In this case, it is not that we are taking a different stance when it comes for a different nation. When, while looking in the historical stance and even the gradual progress that we have seen through decades, so instead of, so there is so much conflict and negative emotions that have surged in between the two groups. So an immediate solution with a single state and coexistence of the population together may not be supportive for a weak and not yet strengthened group of Palestinian people who actually by themselves would like to live on their own and rule on their own. So what is the stance of their own people that we could be ruled by ourselves and not to be intervened and being seriously by the group of Jews or the nation of Israel. So the solution is based on how critical the scenario is and what is the actual need of the people, or the international community is just dividing the nations for their benefit, or what the people of the actual nation wants. Thank you.
I would like to add, India has always been a great supporter of the principle of self-determination, which means each nation group, when it wants to constitute as a country, they can do so. When India and Pakistan was established, it was based on the consensus between the leaders of both Muslim League as well as the Indian National Congress, not curated by the British. Whereas this particular thing also, no, Palestinians has the right to self-determination, which we are supporting constantly, and also the persecuted Jewish people. Historically, it has been their homeland. There is historical records that Palestine and Israel people were living side by side. And when there is a conflict and when they feel they have to be separate nations, based on consensus, both should be allowed to determine themselves or constitute two countries. I think that would be more appropriate answer to the delegate from Hamas. Okay, now to the audience, you can also ask the question. So each delegate will be standing here. Questions will be from the panel members and then from media team. Then audience also can ask question. Please raise your hand so that you can ask a question. Yes, please.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. ரொம்ப நன்றி சார் இந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி வந்து கிரியேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு. அதுக்கப்புறம் Sonia ma'am, she is representing the 1.4 billion delegates, and I think we the audience representing the humanity, I think. Ma'am, we just to ask, நீங்கள் வந்து என்ன சொன்னீங்கன்னா, you just saying that kindness, and we are kindness and compassion to the Israel and Palestine issue. I just want to clarify, are you kindness to Israel and are you compassion to the Palestine? Second வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, எப்போலாம் பிரச்சனை வருதோ இந்தியா சைட்லேருந்து என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இஸ்ரேலுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுறாங்க, அண்ட் தென் வந்து பாலஸ்டைனுக்கு வந்து ஹெல்ப் பண்ணு. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷனில் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணி இவங்களுக்கு வந்து சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுறாங்க, இவங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுறாங்க. அது வந்து எப்படி வந்து ஒரு 2 ஸ்டேட் சொல்யூஷனுக்கு வந்து வழிவகுக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. அப்புறம் வந்து அக்ஷயா மேம் வந்து சொன்னாங்க. ஓகே 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 ஓகே.
Let the delegate answer one by one. Please direct one question at a time.
First question.
Thank you, member, for the question. With respect to your first question, whether we are kind towards Israel or compassionate toward Palestinian, the kindness and compassion or the feelings of humanness and mutual support is common for all people and not just with regard to one particular nation or to whom we are standing allies with. It is for all the common people and not regarding the labels that the nation hold. Next question.
Okay, am I audible? Yes. Okay, since you have been telling from the first that India is a very peaceful, loving country, we wanted to have a 2-state solution, but there are various reports which says that India has supplied arms, ammunitions and drones to Israel in this Israel-Hamas conflict. So is India really a peace-loving country when it is indirectly and directly supporting the Israel's cause?
Thank you for the question. I would like to address this because there exist all the opinions over the supply of arms and ammunitions that would have been supplied by us and been used by the Israel in the war conflict. Regarding our ties with Israel, it is in various fields, defense, technology, and several other. We have export agreements with Israel to which we shall not fail just by the moral stance that we have on the other nation. We have also not failed to give our humanitarian support or assistance to the Palestinian. And on the other hand, for example, if some other nation, let me not name it, if some could supply us with arms and ammunitions, the responsibility of using it for deterrence or for attack is relying on our own and not just because someone has supplied that we have used. So in the same way, just we have exported the arms or mechanized devices to the other nation is not to promote any attack or, apart from defense, it is not towards attacking the civilians or to support for loss of lives. That could be for deterrence, and this was merely due to the economic agreement that we have with them and not to promote any kind of attack on indirectly from our side from our side.
மேம், என்விரான்மெண்ட் சைடு மேம், கிளைமேட் பேஸ் சேஞ்ச் சொன்னீங்க. அந்த போர் நடக்கிறதுனால இங்கே நிறைய வெப்பன் ப்ரொடக்ஷன் பண்ணுறாங்க, கிளைமேட் சேஞ்சினால வந்து ஸ்மால் லேண்ட் கண்டிஷன்லாம் பாதிப்படி சொல்கிறீங்க. ஓகே மேம், நீங்கள் வந்து ஜம்மு காஷ்மீர் இஷ்யூனால வந்து நாம் நிறையா வந்து டிஃபென்ஸுக்காக நிறையா வந்து எக்ஸ்பெண்டிச்சர் பண்ணுறோம். அதிகமாக நம்ம இந்தியாவில் பண்ணுறதில்ல பண்ணி டிஃபென்ஸ் அதிகம் பண்ணுறோம். அது நிறையா ப்ரொடக்ஷன் பண்ணுறதுனால டெவலப்மெண்டல் ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் இல்லாமல் இந்த ப்ரொடக்ஷன் டிஃபென்ஸுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணுறதுனால ஒன்றும் யூஸ் ஆக போதில்லை. ஹியூமனுக்காக எதுவும் டெவலப்மெண்ட் சோஷியல் எக்கனாமிக் டெவலப்மெண்ட் ஆக போகிறது இல்லாமல் அது எப்படி நீங்கள் செலவு பண்ணுறது கிளைமேட் சேஞ்ச் வருதில்ல, இது எப்படி நீங்கள் பார்க்குறீங்க?
Thank you for the question. In respect to addressing the environmental issues, it is of course with no doubt that it is a growing concern that we have to address the growing economic concerns that is widely affecting every inch of the globe, of course. And respect to the activities or the expenditure that the government is making towards defense is with respect to or in coincidence, and not that we are diverting our contributions of environmental concern towards the defense. Is clarified.
Okay, one last question.
Good morning, ma'am. இப்போ மிஸ்டர் காந்தி, எம்கே காந்தி, ஃபாதர் ஆஃப் அவர் நேஷன், அவரே வந்து என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காருன்னா அரப்ஸ் ஆர் த ரைட்ஃபுல் ஓனர்ஸ் ஆஃப் பாலஸ்தீன் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. மீன்ஸ் இப்போ இஸ்ரேல் வந்து அப்போ பாலஸ்தீன் ஆகும்போது காந்தி என்ன சொல்கிறாருன்னா அரப்ஸ் ஆர் த ரைட்ஃபுல் ஓனர்ஸ் ஆஃப் பாலஸ்தீன். அது ஏன் மேம் இப்போ எப்படி அந்த சேஞ்ச் எப்படி வந்தது இந்தியாவுக்கு?
Means how our stance has changed over the decades.
இஸ்ரேல் என்ன பண்ணுச்சு உங்களுக்கு? ஸோ யூ சேஞ்ச் ஃபாதர் ஆஃப் தி நேஷனே வந்து உங்களோட கான்ட்ராடிக்டரியா இருக்காருன்னா அப்போ என்ன மாற்றம்?
Okay, thanks for the question. I would take this opportunity to address the challenges or whatever the questions that people would have in mind on India over the differing stances over time period. It is not that a person who or the country is consistently been supporting or voting in favor of a nation would be keep supporting it just blindly without any moral stance. To take for example, in 1948, we have voted against the partition of Palestine state that can be given to another, that can be given to the land as the land of Jews. And in 1988, we have recognized the Palestine Liberation Organization. And in 1990s, we have started having diplomatic ties with Israel. And from there onwards, in our every diplomatic act, we have started taking some nuances in each and every. A single religion cannot be singly cornered as a fascist religion. And again, in the subsequent decades, we have condemned the Israeli bombardment and blockade of Gaza. So it is not that we are just supporting a country merely being an ally. We are taking moral stance in each and every scenario based upon the actual situation at that moment.
Yes, that's well put. Okay, with data. Okay, that is really good. So we can conclude that stance with Israel-Palestine is a strategic balance. Israel, as of now, is a strategic ally for us, whereas Palestine is a humanitarian ally. Okay, in that case, we will be trying to strike a strategic balance. That's good. Okay, so next to.
Thank you, Ms. Sonia.
Thank you.
Now I call upon the delegate of Palestinian Authority onto the dais. I would also like to make an announcement. Please keep the questions concise and relevant to the discussion. Due to time constraints, we'll keep the questions to the audience. 2 questions can be asked, so please keep it concise.
Audience.
First, I'll ask the delegates to ask the questions, and then we'll go to the international media, and then the audience.
Hi, I am the delegate of Israel. I am having a question for the delegate for Palestinian Authority. That what steps will be taken by Palestinian Authority to prevent the incitement to violence and terrorism against Israelis, and how will it address the issues of hate speech in Palestine media and education?
Please, can you repeat the question once more?
That is the Palestinian Authority. What are the steps will you take to prevent the incitement to violence and terrorism against Israelis, and how will it address the issue of speech in Palestine media and education? Because in media and education, you are fortifying that Israel is against Palestine, and the upcoming schools and education as the growing generations are against, they are born and portrayed as Israel as their enemy. So what's the stance you will be taking to address it?
Okay. So first of all, we have to understand that the current situation is like that. The war is going between the Israel is attacking Gaza Strip and West Bank. So our priority is not to blame anyone, but just to take light onto the current scenario on the aggression taking place on Gaza. And we have no intention to blame anyone, even Israel. We're just asking for the peaceful resolution of the conflict.
It's okay that on 7th October that Hamas has attacked Israel.
Yes.
But your Palestinian Authority is
7th October. No, I think November.
So it's not 7th November that Hamas has attacked us. That is a terrorist group. That is a militant group in Hamas. That's your responsibility that you have to condemn the Hamas against taking violence against Israel.
Okay. Okay, I think we have to differentiate between Palestinian Authority and Hamas. We even condemn Hamas for their terrorist activities in Israel. At the same time, we have to stand for ourselves in the international community, the terror attacks taking place on our people. So we even condemn Hamas. We don't support Hamas.
Question from the audience.
Yes.
One second.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question. How does Palestine Authority plan to resolve the internal division with Hamas to present a unified stance in negotiation?
Okay, so we have to give our attention to the fact that the past reconciliation attempts with Hamas have not yielded the result effectively as we have desired. In the past, we have tried for several times to attempt for peaceful resolution, but the attempts have failed. And the current Israel-Hamas war has further led to the escalation of tensions. So we don't see working with Hamas would bring any outcome that we desire to have in the current international situation.
One more. So, how you are going to navigate the complexity of international relation to promote its interest and secure lasting peace?
Okay. So there is no military solution to this conflict. Neither people, neither Hamas nor neither Israel nor Palestinians can achieve security and freedom at the expense of the other. The two-state solution remains the internationally agreed way forward. A full sovereign independent state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel with borders along pre-1967 lines. To pave the way for sustainable peace beyond a ceasefire, Israel, all Palestinian factions including Hamas, and all UN member states should commit unequivocally to bringing the occupation to an end and implementing a two-state solution. And bold principled leadership is urgently needed.
Questions from the audience? Kindly keep your question concise and relevant to the discussion.
So I want to raise question to Palestinian Authority that does Palestine approves for the two-state solution, and or do you have any other solutions other than the two-state solution?
Okay. We hope for two-state solution. We have been asking for decades. And any other alternative solutions, we have to think about it. We have to use a creativity for any future alternative situations. But currently, the two-state solution with the support of international community is needed.
And another question. So do you think that multilateral cooperation among the Islamic countries could lead to peace in West Asia?
Okay, cooperation within the Islamic countries.
Yes.
Yes, I believe so. Yes, definitely the cooperation can lead to some stability in the region, and but at the same time, Israel's partnership is also required, because Israel is the one which is involved here in this war. So both the cooperation within the Islamic countries to stand with Palestine, and also Israel's participation is required.
And my final question is, so Iran is also supporting for the cause of Palestine. But Iran has other ideas, like it opposes two-state solution. So, and there is, I feel that there is no proper coordination among the Islamic countries. So one has a different ideology, that one opposes this two-state solution, and two countries Saudi and and Palestine too agrees for the two-state solution. So how can it be resolved? Thank you.
Okay, so you are saying Iran is not supporting the two-state solution?
Yeah, Iran is supporting the two-state solution.
How can this be possible?
But Saudi and yourself supporting for the cause, two-state cause. So how it can be negotiated within?
Okay, but the negotiation is between Israel and Palestine, right?
Yeah. So, but,
I would like to answer this question. With related to international relations, each country acts according to its own national interest. So for Iran, if it has to be a regionally strong country, it doesn't want Israel to exist. Okay, Israel is an arch rival of Iran.
Yeah.
So the foreign policy of Iran is shaped up by the interest of Iran. So we must be concerned about what Palestinian people are thinking.
Yeah.
They are ready for two-state solution. For that matter, their territory is being completely controlled by the Israel. Even to move inside the Palestinian territory, you need the permission of the Israel. So first, establishment and autonomy of Palestine is important. So they agree as a compromise that a two-state nation, a two-state solution is better for Palestinian Authority. That's it. Okay. So we need not think about other countries. If all countries support it, would be fine. But Iran's stance is based on its own interest.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Please keep your questions concise. We are running out of time.
Okay, I think I have understood your question. But it is because of the situation, right? International situation. The situation is Palestine is not right, and we need stability in the region. So for stability and for stable policies, we need some sort of stable government in Palestine. So that's why it's like this. But when the situation is returns to normal, we may look forward to other options.
With that, I close the questions for the delegate of Palestinian Authority. We'll move on to the next delegate.
Thank you.
I now call upon the delegate of Lebanon, Mr. Mohammed Rafi, onto the stage. Please keep your questions concise and no follow-up questions can be asked because we are running short of time. So I kindly request the audience to understand. The delegates can first ask the question. Each delegate can ask only one question.
All are offensive against us, no sir. So I am also in that mood. I am the delegate of Israel, having a question for the delegate of Lebanon. How does Lebanon plan to assert its sovereignty and control over its territory, particularly in areas dominated by Hezbollah?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Hezbollah is being a powerful political as well as a military force in Lebanon, and they also have their representation in the Parliament of Lebanon. But still, the Lebanon government is in the negotiation steps with Hezbollah to control their aggression in the regions which they have their control, and to have a cooperation between the Lebanon government and the Hezbollah organizations. So it's in the negotiation stage, and there will be some peaceful resolutions, and there will be some cooperations among the Hezbollah and the Lebanon government in the future period.
Any other question?
Hello, delegate of Lebanon. So I'm delegate of Russia. So I want to ask how, Lebanon hosts a significant Palestinian refugees, right? So what is your government plan to ensure their rights and dignity while advocating for just resolution to the conflicts?
Yeah, the government of Lebanon is taking proactive measures to ensure that the rights of the Palestinian refugees to to ensure the rights in the Lebanon grounds. And the Lebanon government is also fostering for for the solution to resolve this conflict, so that we can also control the populations of the refugees, and we can ensure that the refugees who were in the Palestine to get back to their own land to get the freedom of there, to get the to get a place to live in their own land, their own soil.
I presume delegates do not have any questions. In that case, international press can ask one question.
My question is, Israel launched a massive air operation bombing Hezbollah headquarters, and the initial airstrikes were extremely effective. Have this action exacerbated and exacerbated the fragile situation prevailing in Lebanon?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. Israel launched a massive air operation bombing Hezbollah's headquarters, and the initial airstrikes were extremely effective. Have these actions assuaged or exacerbated the fragile situation prevailing in Lebanon?
Repeat the question.
I couldn't able to get the question. That's why I'm thinking of it. Sorry for that.
Okay. Israel launched a massive air operation and bombing Hezbollah's headquarters. The initial strikes were massively effective. Have the action assuaged or exacerbated the fragile situation prevailing in Lebanon?
Yeah, actually, it has worsened the current situation, because Lebanon is a country which gives a place of stage, like a place of stay to the Palestinian refugees. But still, the Israel's massive attack in the region of Lebanon has, results in the question that the Palestinian refugees are failing to get a safer place to stay. So, so their attack has made a question, a danger to the Palestinian refugees even to stay in Lebanon. Even they couldn't stay in their own place, as well as in the other places in a safer manner. So it being a threat to the Palestinians, as well as it is also a threat to the Lebanon's citizens, because the attacks this placing in the Lebanon's ground.
Yes. My question for you is, there is always a fragile situation between Israel and Lebanon, and the ceasefire is very fragile. And the recent statement given by the United Nations is to wanted the Israeli troops to withdraw from Lebanon. So how do you see this?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Here, the UN statement says that the Israeli troop has to withdraw from the Lebanon border areas. And even the Lebanon government is willing to do so. And we are also taking some measures to ensure that the Israel government withdraw from the borders. And the Lebanon army is also we ensure that the Lebanon army is also not to take any proactive measures or attacks on the Israel army to make the ceasefire more effective in a peaceful manner.
Christian state. இப்போ வந்து நீங்க
from
Lebanon Islamic State, இஸ்ரேல் வந்து Christian state. நீங்க வந்து ரிலிஜியஸ்னால
Sunathan, Lebanon has equal proportion of population of Christians, Muslims and the Coptics for that matter.
Sir, அப்போ எப்படி சார்?
It's not an Islamic country.
Okay. Not officially Islamic country, secular country. Secular country.
Okay, go ahead with the question.
Yes, sir. இப்போ அப்போ ரெண்டு பக்கமும் இஸ்ரேல் பக்கம் ஹியூமனிடேரியன் வயலன்ஸ் நடந்திருக்கு, பாலஸ்தீன் பக்கம் ஹியூமனிடேரியன் வயலன்ஸ் நடந்திருக்கு. ஹியூமனிடேரியன் வயலன்ஸ் வந்து ரெண்டு பக்கமே உயிரை செத்து இறந்துருக்குறாங்க. அப்புறம் எப்படி நீங்கள் வந்து பாலஸ்தீன் பக்கம் மட்டும் நீங்கள் ஸ்டாண்ட் நிற்கிறீங்க, இஸ்ரேல் பக்கம் சேர்ந்துருக்காங்க, ஹியூமனிடேரியன் வயலன்ஸ் நடந்திருக்குல்ல, அங்கே இருக்கிற ஹியூமன்ஸ் எல்லாம் எப்படி அது ஸ்டாண்ட் உங்களுடைய இது?
Okay, fine. Yeah, I got it, sir. Okay, fine. ஸோ இப்போ நீங்கள் என்ன சொல்றீங்கன்னா ரெண்டு பக்கமே ஹியூமனிடேரியன் வயலேஷன்ஸ் இருக்குது, பட் நீங்கள் ஏன் பாலஸ்தீன் சைடு நிற்கிறீங்க அப்படின்னு
நீங்கள் வந்து ரிலீஜியஸ் செக்டார்னு கேட்குறேன். இஸ்லாமிக் ஸ்டே இப்போது கிறிஸ்டியானிட்டியை எதிர்த்துறீங்களா, அதனால் நீங்கள் பாலஸ்தீன் பக்கம் இருக்கிறீங்களா அந்த மாதிரி?
இல்லை அப்படி கிடையாது. We are not against Christianity because even we have the equal proportion of Christians in the proportion of Christian population in Lebanon and Muslim population as well, as you said. But the thing here is the attack of Israel is impacting more in Palestinian grounds and the Palestinian citizens. Thank you. The Palestinian citizens is getting more affected than the Israel citizens.
I kindly invite Mr. Bhuminathan Sir, Director, Kingmakers IAS Academy, onto the dais.
ஸோ பேனல் டிஸ்கஷனுக்கு ட்ரெடிஷ்னல் ட்ரெஸ்ன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். நைஸ். Anyway, panel discussion, it is happening in Tamil Nadu. So let us be in our traditional dress. Please start.
As you said, we have equal proportion of population, and since the citizens of the civilians in the Palestinian grounds are getting more affected than the civilians in the Israel. So that's why, and they are getting more affected in the humanitarian concerns as well, and they are being considered as the refugees. Israelis are not considered to be as a refugee because they have their own grounds to stay. Even there is an attack by the Palestinians on the Israel's ground. So we take a stance to, we are not taking chance to support Palestine. We are just taking a stance to ensure that there should be peaceful negotiations and to end this conflict and to have a peaceful world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rafi. I now invite the delegate of Iran, Mr. Mohammed Ashik, onto the dais.
Yeah, meanwhile, with respect to Lebanon, they have a demographic issue because most of the Palestinians have settled in Lebanon. And these Palestinians are asking for right to return, which Israel is not recognizing. And that is why Lebanon is not cooperating with Israel. It's not on religious line. Yes, Ashik.
The delegates can ask the question now. One question each.
I'm the delegate of Amnesty International. My question is, do you think the terrorist activities of Hamas will bring peace in the land of Palestine? as it affects the rights and freedom of the civilians?
Thank you for your question. So I would like to answer this. So with respect to Iran's view of Hamas attack, Iran does not see it as a terrorist attack, but it sees it as an attack of resistance. That is, Israel has been continuously oppressing the Palestinian people, and so the Hamas attack is an attack of resistance and not a terrorist attack. So for that matter, it is. We should also see the Israel side as well. So Israel has also been on a rampaging genocide and has killed more than 46,600 people. So that stance should also be considered. With respect to Hamas attack, Iran sees it as an attack of resistance. Thank you.
I am representative of USA. So you are saying that USA is a great Satan according to Iran. So I have one question. So if you are saying that USA is a Satan, so then why are you supporting the terrorist group in Middle East like Houthis, Hamas and Hezbollah? So if take you as a god, so like you declare that US is a Satan and you as a god. So God does not support the Satans like in all religion, right? So then how dare you saying that US is a great Satan?
So thank you, delegate. So I would like to answer your question is that first is that you asked about why Iran supports all these terrorist groups. So with respect to the Middle East, we have lots of resistance groups, that is Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Houthis in Yemen. So Iran sees these groups as resistance groups. All of these groups, the reason why they act is because they are facing continuous oppressions in their region from other parties. So they are trying to resist themselves from the continuous oppression. So that is how Iran sees these resistance groups. That's it.
So you are saying that like upliftment of the Middle East. That's why you are supporting to the terrorist group, right?
Not upliftment. I would rather say that historically, the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which led to the establishment of Islamic Republic of Iran, which the main principle of the Iranian Revolution was to counter the Western imperialism. So that was the main idea of Iranian Revolution, and Iran sees a common ground with all these groups. They are like similar groups which are facing similar oppression, the same way as Iran faced during the pre-1979 period. So that is also a factor why Iran supports these resistance groups. And I would also like to say that Iran's stance is that all these groups, they act independently of their own and they are not controlled by Iran.
Yes, I would like to add, any group will be seen as a freedom fighting group. Okay, for other nations it may be a terrorist group. That is what he's trying to say. Yes, please.
Yeah, if you feel all these groups are resistance group, and I would like to ask you, why is Iran often funding this group and indirectly involved in Yemen, where millions of deaths is happening? If you are so concerned about deaths of the people in Palestine, does that mean you are not concerned about deaths of the other state where you are involved?
So you're asking that Iran has been supporting these groups, which has led to the serious killing and of all these issues. Why is Iran supporting this? Okay. So our stance is very clear. We see them as resistance groups, and I would say that they have been facing oppression. So the other side also, for example, if you take the Hamas case, it is not only Hamas which is doing the killing of innocent lives. The Israel has disproportionately been killing various people. So the reason why Iran supports this group is that it wants liberation. That is, it supports their resistance cause. So that is the stance of Iran.
So you are saying that you are supporting terrorist group because of liberation. So how it will happen, I don't know. If you support terrorist group, how it liberal country. I think it will be a terror country, right? Like Pakistan and Afghanistan.
So first I would like to say that none other country in the world is so dangerous than the United States. So I would also quote an example here. The United States has been an irresponsible nuclear power. During the World War II, they have dropped 2 atomic bombs in the nation of Japan. I think no other act can be equated to that serious act which United States did.
Okay, you are saying that the United States is...
We'll now have one question from the audience due to time constraints. Only one question. Here.
Good morning. Actually, you are stated that media is saying that it is deliberately... okay, I'll ask in Tamil.
You can ask it in Tamil, but make it concise.
மீடியா வந்து ஒரு சில விஷயங்களை வந்து தப்பாக போர்ட்ரேட் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு சொல்கிறீங்க. As for the stand, Hamas is attacking first Israel. That is the stand from media as of now. And you are saying that 2-state is not okay for us. But you are opposing someone or you are oppressing someone like Israel. But Palestine is supporting two-state. What is your view in that? Palestine view and your view is different from this.
So for that matter, Iran is the only country which proposes a just and inclusive solution for the Palestinian conflict. So the referendum that is being proposed by Iran will be consisting of the Muslims, Christians, Jews, all those people who are living in the Palestinian land, and it is a most inclusive solution that a country can give. With respect to the differing views of Palestine and Iran, a response from the concerned ministry will be officially launched.
Thank you, Ashik. I now invite the delegate of Amnesty International onto the dais.
Israel also supports, PLO supports the...
And I also request Ms. Aditya, faculty, GMT test, to go onto the dais. The delegates can direct the question to the delegate of Amnesty International.
Respectable delegate, this is Indian delegate. I would like to question you that Amnesty International is well known for its effective role in bringing out the impartiality and human rights violations and the commonality of human rights and its universality. So what is the most effective action that you could quote that has been done by you to make any positive recovery in this particular conflict?
I would like to answer this question. Amnesty International has published many reports which condemns the human rights violation made by both the sides, and Amnesty International calls for the United Nations to bring a resolution of a ceasefire to bring peace in the region. So, and the investigations of International Criminal Court is also a foundation for our advocacy to peace and the protection of human rights.
Thank you.
I am the delegate of Israel having a question for Amnesty International. How does Amnesty International justify its disproportionate focus on Israel while neglecting human rights abuses in other countries such as Syria, Iran and Gaza. As an Israel state, we feel that Amnesty International is so biased.
I welcome your question, and the views of Amnesty International is not so biased. Amnesty International has also condemned the use of rockets by the Hamas in the civilian areas of Israel. So Amnesty International also protects, advocates the protection of human rights of the people of Israel also. So the main aim of Amnesty International is to protect the human rights and the freedom of people. So Amnesty International also also oppose the use of use of arms and aggressions by all the countries, not only Israel.
I'm the delegate of Iran. I would like to ask you that you mentioned that there has been serious humanitarian violations both by Israel and Hamas. So the United States, being the closest ally of Israel, has been indirectly supporting the genocide. What is Amnesty International's view on United States?
Amnesty International Amnesty International calls for the United States to to take steps to ensure peace in the region. So the support of Amnesty, the support of United Nations to the genocide of Israel is also opposed, and as a protector of democracy and the democracy and idealism, United States should work for the promotion of peace and security of the people.
I now would like to open the floor to the audience if you have any question. In that case, we'll move on to the next delegate. Thank you, Ms. Devadarshini. I now call upon the delegate of Hamas, Mr. Akash, to come to the dais.
Of Amnesty International, how will you claim the day of October 7, 2023 as a war of resistance, as it claimed the lives of many people and affected the rights and freedom of people and has caused a severe human casualty? So how did you claim it as a war of resistance and liberation?
Thank you for your question. As a delegate of Hamas, the attack of October 7, I am re-emphasizing that it was a resistant movement against the Israel aggression. Because from its independence of Israel 1948, we face a lot of oppression and indiscrimination against the Palestinian rights of people. So that that emphasis during the Ramadan month, Israel attacked the mosque and the peoples were severely injured, like the women, children, and even the elder people. So it will clear that it was a resistant movement against the Israel.
Then how will you do the same to the civilian areas of Israel?
Can you repeat the question, please?
like you had claimed that Israel has attacked the civilians, women and children. And how will you do the same to the people of Israel? Do you think violence is the reason? Violence will end oppression and bring peace in the country?
Violence. இப்போ வந்து எங்கே தான் எங்கேயுமே வந்து இப்போ வந்து ஒரு group of people ஓட interest வந்து suppress ஆச்சு அப்படின்னா they will protest.
I would like to invite Mr. Sadiq. Mr. Sadiq, sir, faculty, his history optional, onto the dais. You can resume.
As continue to answer your question. இப்போ எங்கேயுமே வந்து இப்போ ஒரு group of people suppress ஆனாங்க அப்படின்னா they will protest against the people who are against them. As seen like them, அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது நீங்கள் கேட்குற மாதிரி பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா from the independence, from Balfour Declaration of 1917, we are against the Israel to be a statehood in the Middle East country. Okay, அப்படி அந்த மாதிரி பார்க்கும்போது we will be asking for an right and dignity of Palestinian human rights. That's it.
Thank you.
Hello. Yes. I'm a delegate of Russia and I have a question for you. Hamas claims to represent the Palestinian people, but how can justify launching attack which actually provocates and disproportionate retaliation and worsen the humanitarian crisis in Gaza?
Can you repeat?
Okay. Shall I ask
Simply
you?
clarify.
Oh, onnola. Ipo ninga you are representing Palestinian people, right?
Yes.
Ana your actions are some extreme which worsen the situation sometimes. So how do you going to state your side?
Once again I make it clear. Since I was asking for a right, from the Israel oppression against the Palestinian people, we are asking for a recognition and the freedom of Palestinian people. Okay. Through that, இப்போ பாலஸ்தீன் தான் வந்து இஸ்ரேல் பாலஸ்தீன் தான் வந்து இஸ்ரேலை அப்ரஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க அப்படின்னு கிடையாது. ஃப்ரம் த ஹிஸ்ட்ரி 300 to 400 years it was an homeland for an Palestinian people. ஓகே, இப்போ நம்ம வந்து ஒருத்தன் வந்து நம்ம வீட்டை கேட்குறான் அப்படின்னா ஈஸியாக விட்டு கொடுக்க முடியாது. ஓகேவா? ஸோ தட் since we ask in a peaceful manner எவ்வளோ தான் கேட்டாலும் they were not recognizing us. So that I will acting like an violent means.
Okay, thank you, Akash. No more questions? Okay, we'll open the floor to the audience because I think there are a lot of questions. Please pass the mic.
Hi.
Hi.
ஓகே, ரீசன்ட் சர்வே வந்து அரப் வேர்ல்ட் ரிசர்ச் அண்ட் டெவலப்மெண்ட் குரூப் அப்படின்ற ஒரு ப்ரோ பாலஸ்தீனியன் பேஸ்டு ஒரு குரூப் வந்து ஒரு ரிசர்ச் வெளியிட்டிருக்காங்க. 17 இயர்ஸாக காசாவில் வந்து ஹமாஸ்க்கு ஒரு ஸ்ட்ராங் ஹோல்டு இருக்குது. பட் இப்போ ரீசன்ட் கான்ஃப்ளிக்ஸ்க்கு அப்புறம் அங்கே எடுத்த சர்வேல அவங்களே என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா less than 20% ஆஃப் பீப்புள் ஆஃப் காசா ஹேவ் சப்போர்ட்டட் ஹமாஸ். ஸோ பீப்புளுக்கே உங்கள் மேலே நம்பிக்கை இல்லை, அப்போ நீங்கள் யாருக்காக போராடுறீங்க? அதுதான் என்னோட கொஸ்டின்.
ஓகே,
பீப்புளே கேட்குறாங்க நீ யார் எங்களுக்காக போராடுறதுக்கு? அண்ட் அவங்க இன்னொன்று என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா இந்த வார்னால தான் வந்து எங்களுக்கும் எங்கள் மேலேயும் அட்டாக் நடக்குதுன்னு பீப்புள் சொல்கிறாங்க. ஸோ வாட் இஸ் யுவர் ஆன்சர் ஃபார் திஸ்?
answer to your question. இப்போ என்னதான் எங்களுக்கு பீப்புள் வந்து என்னதான் எங்களுக்கு எகெயின்ஸ்ட் பண்ணாலும் ஈவன் தோ த October 7 அட்டாக் 4 of the 3 Palestinian people வந்து அந்த அட்டாக் வந்து சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாங்க as per the survey of 2023 December. ஓகேவா? as per now எந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து பாலஸ்தீன் பீப்புள் வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து நீங்கள் கேட்ட மாதிரி 20%. நான் இப்போ ஆன்சர் சொல்லட்டுமா? இப்போ வந்து பீப்புள் வந்து எந்த அளவுக்கு எங்களுக்கு எகெயின்ஸ்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்களோ as the US report more than 5% ஆஃப் பீப்புள் வந்து எங்களுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணி ஹமாஸில் ஜாயின் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. ஓகேவா?
உங்கள் கேள்விக்கு பதில் வந்து ரொம்ப சிம்பிள் தான். ஆக்சுவலி இட் ஹாஸ் பீன் செட் பை தி பிளிங்கன். அஃபீஷியலாக என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, எத்தனை பேர் செத்துருக்காங்களோ அதை தாண்டி அதிகமாக தே ஹவ் சப்போர்ட்டட் தி ஹமாஸ். தி ஆர் ரெடி டு ஜாயின் ஹமாஸ். கரண்ட் சிச்சுவேஷன் CIA ரிப்போர்ட். இட் இஸ் நியூஸ்லேயே இருந்தது, அஃபீஷியல் ரிப்போர்ட் பை தி பிளிங்கன் ஹிம்செல்ஃப். ஸோ நீங்கள் கோட் பண்ண ரிப்போர்ட் வந்து மீடியா ஸ்பெகுலேஷன். ப்ரோ பாலஸ்தீனியன் நீங்கள் ப்ரோ இஸ்ரேல் பாலஸ்தீன் சொல்கிறீங்க, பட் ஆக்சுவலாக அது கிடையாது. இது சொன்னது வேறு யாருமே இல்லை, பிளிங்கன் தான். யூ கேன் ஈவன் ஹேவ் அ கிராஸ் செக்.
Thank you. With that, I'll call the delegate of
one more. I will take him to clarify the point of me.
Sure.
Okay. Since இப்போ பாருங்க, the revolutions happened in the world as like French or American as happened in a recent revolution. It was against the own kingdoms. Okay. ஆனால் இப்போ வந்து இங்கே நடந்துட்டு இருக்கிறது என்ன அப்படின்னா, it was in as aliens from other places, okay, asking the homeland of our country. Okay, it is like a revolution against in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you. I call upon the delegate of Israel onto the dais. We'll take one question from the audience, so please raise your hand so that I can pass the mic. The audience, anybody? Okay, pass the mic.
குட் மார்னிங் மேம். மேம் கிட்ட கேட்குற கேள்வி என்னதுன்னா, வாரே தப்பு மேம், பட் ஆனால் நீங்கள் வார் எதுக்கு
கொஞ்சம் சவுண்டாக சொல்ல முடியுமா?
மைக்கு சவுண்டு கேட்குதில்ல? இப்போ கேட்குதில்ல? ஓகே மேம். ஓகே மேம். வார்ன்றதே டிஸ்அப்ரோப்ரியேஷனேட்டான டிசிஷன் தான் மேம். பட் ஆனால் நீங்கள் வந்து வார் எப்படி ஜஸ்டிஃபை பண்ணுறீங்கன்னா, நீங்கள் என்ன சொன்னீங்கன்னா, லேண்ட் வித்தவுட் பீப்புள் வித்தவுட் லேண்ட். பீப்புளுக்காண்டி வார் போர் பண்ணால் ஜெயிச்சிடலாம் மேம். அதுக்கான வாய்ப்புகள் சிலது கொஞ்சம் இருக்குது. நீங்கள் எதுக்காண்டி போடுறாருங்கன்னா, லேண்டுக்காண்டி போடுறாருங்க. அது வந்து நீங்கள் எப்படி ஜஸ்டிஃபை பண்ண முடியும்? அதே மாதிரி ஜஸ்ட் 1 மினிட், நீங்கள் என்ன சொன்னீங்கன்னா, சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் அண்டு ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து ஹமாஸ் வந்து தாக்குறாங்க அப்படின்னு வந்து சொன்னீங்க. உங்கள் இதில் ஃபார் இது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இஸ்ரேலோட PM ஒருத்தவங்க இருந்தாங்க, இஸ்ரேல் சாக்லேட் அப்படின்ட்டு. அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, காசாவில் பிறக்கிற குழந்தைகள் எல்லாமே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நச்சு பாம்புகள் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்க இது சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. இது ரெண்டுத்தையும் நீங்கள் எப்படி ஜஸ்டிஃபை பண்ணுவீங்க மேம்?
அந்த லாஸ்ட்டாக சொன்னீங்களா, அப்படின்னா என்னது?
நச்சு பாம்புகள்லாம் ஓகே மேம். ஓகே. பாய்சனஸ் ஸ்னேக் யாரை சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா, காசாவில் பிறக்கிற குழந்தைங்களை வந்து அவங்க சொல்கிறாங்க.
காசாவில் பிறக்கிற குழந்தைங்க வந்து
பாய்சனஸ் ஸ்னேக்குன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. மேம் உங்களுக்கு புரியுது?
காசாவில் பிறக்கிற எல்லா குழந்தைங்களுமே பாய்சனஸ் ஸ்னேக்கு
உங்களுக்கு விளங்கிருச்சு இல்லை மேம்?
இன்னொரு கொஸ்டின்
புரியுது.
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் நீங்கள் வந்து என்ன சொல்லியிருந்தீங்கன்னா, ஹமாஸ் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் சொல்லுங்க, நான் அதுக்கு ஆன்சர் சொல்லுங்க.
ஓகே மேம். பீப்புளுக்காண்டி ஒருத்தவங்க போராடினாங்கன்னா ஜெயிச்சிடலாம் மேம் வாரில் ஃபார் சம் எக்ஸ்டென்சஸ். பட் ஆனால் நீங்கள் எதுக்கு போராடுறீங்கன்னா, லேண்டுக்காண்டி போராடுறீங்க. அதை வந்து நீங்கள் எப்படி ஜஸ்டிஃபை பண்ணுவீங்க?
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நான் வந்து ஆஸ் அ இஸ்ரேல் வந்து வி ஆர் ஜூயிஷ் பீப்புள். அவங்க எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும். செகண்ட் வேர்ல்டு வாரில் வந்து ஹிட்லர்ன்ற ஒரு ஆள் வந்து அந்த யாரை ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணார்னா, ஒரு ரேஷியல், அதாவது ஜீனோசைட் பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் வந்து ஜூயிஷை வந்து அட்டாக் பண்ணார். ஏன் அப்படி நாங்கள் வந்து அவ்வளோ ஒரு 6 மில்லியன் பீப்புள்ஸ் வந்து டை ஆனோன்னா, எங்களுக்குன்னு ஒரு டெரிட்டரி அப்போ இல்லை. நாங்கள் வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு இடத்துல போய் மைக்ரெண்ட்டாக தான் வாழ்ந்துட்டு இருந்தோம். அந்த சுச்சுவேஷனில் நாங்கள் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அப்படி தான் இருந்தோம். பீப்புள் தான் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் நினச்சிட்டு தான் இருந்தோம். பட் நாங்களே வந்து யாராவது எங்களுக்கு ஒரு த்ரெட்டாக இருக்காங்க, எங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு டெரிட்டரி இல்லாததுனால நாங்கள் வந்து ஒரு ஆளால் த்ரெட் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணும்போது எங்களுக்குன்னு ஒரு லேண்ட் இருந்தால் தானே நெக்ஸ்ட் பீப்புளாக நாங்கள் வாழ முடியும். நாங்களே இல்லாமல் மற்றவங்கள பற்றி எங்களால் எப்படி யோசிக்க முடியும்? ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஸ் நம்ம வந்து நம்மளை பற்றி தான் ஃபஸ்ட் யோசிப்போம். ஆஸ் நெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து தான் நம்ம வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட்டை பற்றி யோசிப்போம். ஸோ நாங்கள் வந்து எங்களை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணனா we need a territory. So that's the stance we had. I have told.
Thank you. Due to time constraints, I'll be closing the floor. You can ask the questions to the delegate informally, unofficially. Now I call upon Mr. Satyapal Deepak sir, faculty PSI or optional, to give his concluding remarks.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to appreciate all the delegates here. Yeah. It was a very intensive discussion. In short, one area where you did not concentrate, I will just give awareness to the audience. Historically, Palestinians and Jewish people, the Arab and Jewish people, were staying in the same place. And geographically, Israel is a desert. So there is no resources. So historically, in the Old Testament of Bible as well as in Quran, there is a mention of their exodus to various parts of the world. Okay, and the 19th century Zionist movement started to arrive where they asked for a homeland. And the First and Second World War, especially the Second World War, you know what happened. So there was a repeated stress, okay, for forming a homeland. And because of the Jewish connect for the Christian world, which won the Second World War, they re-established a land for Israel in Palestine. But now the problem is Israel does not logically or they do not agree with the two-state solution. They say they support the two-state solution. They wanted the Palestinian people to live as a subordinate citizen there. That is the problem. Already they have to control an entire Palestinian territory, both Gaza Strip as well as the West Bank. Now Palestinians needs to get permit in order to do any business, occupation, or for that matter, educational opportunities. Okay, so that is the situation now. I'm not going to give any one-sided solution now. It is you to have an opinion. The purpose of this panel discussion is to get multiple inputs, multidimensionality. For UPSC aspirants, we lack that multidimensionality. So, sir, we are planning to have more such sessions in order to bring that multidimensional thinking in your mindset. So, with that note, I'm concluding. Thank you, one and all. I'm handing over the mic to Junaid to briefly give his feedback. Thank you.
Good morning. Like everyone was good. I don't want to like irrespective of result. எல்லாருமே நல்லா பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணீங்க. ஸோ அது இல்லை, பட் சின்ன சின்ன மிஸ்டேக்ஸ் இருக்குது. ஸோ லெட் மீ ஓப்பனாகவே சொல்லிடலாம். லைக் பேசும்போது யூ ஆர் நாட் ரெப்ரசன்டிங் த ஸ்டேட்ஸ், யூ ஆர் ஜஸ்ட் டெல்லிங் வாட் யூ வாண்ட் டு சே. ஸ்டேட்ஸை ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணோம். டேக் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், ரஷ்யா இஸ் அ சப்போர்ட்டர் ஆஃப் ஹமாஸ், பட் ரஷ்யாவே வந்து ரைட்ஸை பற்றி கேட்குது. That's something contradictory. And Iran பேசும்போது you தப்பா ஒரு எரர் இருக்கு. Like you said, PM செத்தே போயிட்டார் அவர். ரைஸ் இஸ் நாட் த மோஸ்ட் வேற. ரைஸ் வந்து ஏர் கிராஷில் செத்து போயிட்டார், ஒரு வருஷம் ஆயிடுச்சு. பட் யூ செட் ரைஸ். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன மிஸ்டேக்ஸ் விச் நீட் டு பி ரெக்டிஃபைட். அண்ட் தென் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் வந்து நல்லா ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. சப்போஸ் ஃபியூச்சரில் இருந்தால் யூ ஷுட் பி ரெப்ரசென்டிங் த நேஷன். சவுதி இஸ் கொஸ்டிங் ஹமாஸ். எப்படி இங்கே சப்போர்ட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க இது. And USA question was very good and Iran was very good. Lebanon, எல்லாருமே everyone were very good. On audience side, I'm very happy. இத்தனை பேர் டர்ன் அவுட் ஆவீங்கன்னு சார் நானே எதிர்பார்க்கல. I'm really happy for it. So small mistakes but still you can work on it. So that's it. Thank you. And final speech by our chairperson, sir, Bhuminathan sir.
Hi, very good morning all. Very excellent initiative. This is the first time that this kind of session it is organized in Kingmakers IAS Academy. It goes to Satyapal sir. We have a program for prelims, we have a program for mains, we have a program for current affairs. We have so many programs to enhance your knowledge. We were thinking that we wanted to start a program to train you for the personality test from the day of your inception. When we were thinking, all of a sudden I got the message from our Satyapal sir that, sir, we are going to organize one panel discussion on various topics. The first topic is very burning topic. This topic was there when I started the preparation. This topic was there when I started the institute. This topic is there when you are starting your preparation. There must be end for which this kind of panel discussion should be organized by the international authorities. At least we have taken some initiatives. I'm very happy to see your best performances, your views, your ideas, the way you have organized your thoughts. There is no word to express my happiness because I could easily feel that there are so many personalities in our academy. Once if they get a chance to appear for the personality test, I'm sure definitely they'll come out with the very decent marks, very good marks, even sometime more than 200 plus. The way you ask the questions, the way you give the responses, everything is really nice. Now the time to announce the best performers. The one who has taken the issue as his own. He did not represent the country just for namesake. I hope by this time you would have understood who is that man. He conceived the idea, he studied well, he represented as the original delegate of this particular country. Our judges are very neutral, no matter whether he is an original delegate or delegate for just for namesake. Maybe sleeper cell. Really, we enjoyed. We enjoyed by seeing your knowledge, your thought, your ideas, your deep understanding about the issue, everything. It gives us a confidence, first of all. Whether it gives you a confidence or not, I don't know. But it gives us confidence that our students are really performing well. So whatever the time and the efforts, whatever we have invested on you in the last couple of months, it has resulted in a very good way. I'm very happy to see. Still, I have not announced that name. Another delegate. Unfortunately, I missed. Fortunately, I came to know. As soon as I entered, sir, you missed such a wonderful speech by one delegate. The way the delegate has addressed, the way she has answered, not, oh, I have given one clue. The way the delegate has responded to the questions, it has really attracted all the judges. Before I those two names, first and second, if audience, if you could feel the same feeling, Then you announce the first name. Who is the original delegate of that particular country? First, let us see what is the view of the delegates first. Iran. How many are voting for Iran? Even from the audience side. Audience side? Nalla kaidu kunu. Okay. So how many are voting for next country? India. So you have India. Kallu vote podreenga India-kaga. ஸோ நம்ம என்ன ஸ்டாண்ட் எடுத்தாலும் நம்ம ஸ்டாண்டு தான் கரெக்டுன்னு நினைக்கிறோம் இல்லையா? பிகாஸ் இட்ஸ் அவர் ஓன் கண்ட்ரி, இட்ஸ் அவர் ஓன் பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர், இட்ஸ் அவர் ஓன் ஃபாரின் மினிஸ்டர், அவர் ஓன் டெலிகேட்ஸ். நாங்கள் என்ன ஸ்டாண்ட் எடுக்கிறோம்னு எங்களுக்கே தெரியாது சில நேரங்கள், ஆனால் ஸ்டாண்ட் எடுப்போம். எந்த பக்கம் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுறீங்கன்னு நிறைய டைம் கேட்டுக்கிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. அதனால நாங்கள் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுறோம் சொல்லுவோம். அதுக்காக கேட்குறோம், யாருக்குன்னு கேட்குறோம். ஆனால் கடைசி வரைக்கும் நம்ம மேனேஜ் பண்ணுறோம். அந்த ஒரு ரீசன்னால இந்தியா இஸ் செகண்ட், ஈரான் இஸ் ஃபர்ஸ்ட். But always India should be first and other countries should be next. All the best.
So I request Mr. Bhuminathan sir to hand over the prize.
The name sollen nalla irukadu. And people are watching in the YouTube. So the delegate of Iran, it was represented by Ashik Miran Mohidin. First prize goes to Ashik Miran Mohidin. Second prize goes to Sonia Sri. Once again, the Kingmakers IAS Academy, India again. It has proved that we are always secular. Adjust பண்ணக்கூடாது. வேஸ்ட் கேட்கறப்ப பெல்ட் போட்டாதான் முடியுது. என்ன பண்றது? ஏன்னா நமக்கு அந்த கல்ச்சர் இன்னும் வரல. மதுரக்காரன் சொல்லப்படலாம், அது மாடு பிடிக்க போறப்ப மட்டும்தான். நைஸ். ஆஷிக். சோனியா ஸ்ரீ ஆக்சுவலாக அவங்க ஸ்பீச் ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்ததுன்னு சொன்னாங்க. பட் நிறைய பேர் ஓட் போட்டீங்க, உண்மைதான். அவங்க தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ப்ரைஸ் வந்திருக்கணும், ஏன்னா நிறைய பேர் அதான் சொன்னாங்க. பட் வாட் எவர் இட் மேபி, சர்டன் ஏரியாஸில் வந்து சின்ன ஃப்ளா இருந்ததுனால ஜட்ஜஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ப்ரைஸ் வந்து அவர் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. பட் சோனியா ஸ்ரீ ரொம்ப நல்ல இது பண்ணுறீங்க. நிச்சயமாக உங்களுடைய பர்சனல் டெஸ்ட்டில் 200+ நிச்சயமாக வரும். அதை வந்து நீங்கள் ப்ரூவ் பண்ணிட்டீங்க. All the best.
Delegates, please come.
Certificates வாங்கிக்கலாம்.
Please come, no? So meanwhile, Sonia Shri, she is from agriculture optional, sir. Still, she was able to give very diplomatic and sharp answers.
சிவில் சர்வீஸ் ஆஸ்பிரண்ட்ஸ்க்கு அக்ரிகல்ச்சரு, ஹிஸ்ட்ரி, ஜியாகிரஃபிலாம் கிடையாது சார். நீங்கள் எந்த சப்ஜெக்ட் கொடுத்தாலும் வெளுத்து வாங்குவாங்க. ரைட்? எஸ்.
I request Mr. Bhuminathan sir to present the certificates. Mr. M. Arun Kumar.
Please. Level.
இன்னும் வந்து கிட்டத்தட்ட இந்த 2 week representative
Ms. Nisha Arun.
ஏதாவது ஒரு டெலிகேட் அனுப்பணும்னா யுஎஸ்ல இருந்து பேசாம இவனை அனுப்பிச்சிரு. குட்.
Ms. Nisha Arun. Ms. Devadarshini.
குட் டிப்ளமேட். அவங்க ரெண்டு பேருமே வந்திருக்க அந்த ட்ரெஸ் கோட்லாம் பார்க்குறப்ப பாருங்க, அந்த பேனல் டிஸ்கஷனுக்கு ஒரு பேனல் டிஸ்கஷனுக்கு எப்படி வரணுமோ அந்த ட்ரெஸ் கோட். நைஸ். தேவதர்ஷினி ரொம்ப கலக்கிட்டீங்க. ஆக்சுவலாக ரொம்ப நாள் கழிச்சு நான் மறுபடியும் பெனோ சஃபினை பார்த்தது மாதிரி இருந்தது.
Mr. Mohammed Rafi.
The confidence and the language, please maintain that. Definitely you'll achieve. All the best. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mr. Mohammed Rafi.
Yes.
Ms. Ayelia Kadan. Mr. R. Akar.
One note about her. It was yesterday we gave her the role. Okay, others were preparing for 3 weeks. Wow. In just one day, she was able to do well.
Mr. R. Akash. Ms. Arunisha.
Difficult question. நல்லா மேனேஜ் பண்ண. சூப்பர். குட். ஆல் தி பெஸ்ட்.
கன்னு தான் எடுத்துட்டு வரல.
அது மெயின் தேவை.
Ms. Arunisha.
அருணிஷா ஆல்ரெடி டிப்ளமேட் ஆகிறதுக்கு எல்லா குவாலிட்டிஸும் கூட ஒரு பொண்ணு.
Ms. Sandhya V.
In foreign policy, ஒன்று சொல்லுவாங்க, offense is the best form of defense. So answer எடுக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே she's preempting the audience. That was a good skill.
இந்த क्वेश्चंस ரொம்ப நல்லா பண்ணி. அந்த क्वेश्चंस ஃப்ரேம் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கீங்க. இதுமே ரொம்ப நல்லா.
I also kindly request Mr. Bhuminathan sir to felicitate Satyapal sir and Mr. Junaid Ahmed sir, the moderators for the panel. And I now request Mr. Satyapal sir to felicitate Mr. Bhuminathan sir.
அடுத்த முறை ஈவென்ட் நாங்க ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணுவோம். ஒழுங்கா சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுங்கன்றதுக்காக
I also request Mr. Bhuminathan sir to felicitate Mr. Sadiq sir.
ஆக்சுவலா வெரி சூன் வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஷீல்ட் எல்லாமே ரொம்ப பெரிய ஷீல்டா வந்து ஒருத்தங்களுக்கு கொடுக்க போறோம். ஓகே, அது முன்னாடியே ஒரு
I'd like to call Ms. Pavadaniki, MK. And we'd like to felicitate the organizers of the panel discussion. Ms. Pavadani, MK.
Organize பத்தி 2 words மட்டும் சொல்லணும். It was very democratic process. Country allocation வந்து voluntary கிடையாது. Lot போட்டு எடுத்தாங்க. Because some wanted to speak for Israel, they was given USA. Some wanted to speak for Hamas, they were given the other thing. So it was completely democratic process. Assistance, data, அப்புறமேட்டு ஆர்டிகல்ஸ் இன்டர்நேஷ்னல் ஜேர்னல்லேருந்து ஆர்டிகல்ஸ் எடுத்து ஒவ்வொருத்தருக்கும் கொடுத்து அதை டிராஃப்ட் வாங்கி அதை க்யூரேட் பண்ணி அதுக்கப்புறம் அடிஷ்னல் பாயிண்ட்ஸ் கொடுத்து லாட் ஆஃப் எஃபர்ட் தட் ஹஸ் கான். எஸ்பெஷலி ஐ ஹவ் டு மென்ஷன் அக்ஷயா, பவதாரணி. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் பவதாரணி எஸ்
இவங்க டெலிகேட்ஸ் வரல
சார், தேர் இன் ஆர்கனைசிங், அதனால நியூட்ரலாக இருக்கணும். எஸ் சார், எஸ்.
டெலிகேட்ஸ் வந்து இன்னும் பயங்கரமான டிபேட் ஆயிருக்குமே. Good.
Political science wants to empower others, sir.
Mr. Mohammed Rafi.
All the best. So this is Mohammed Rafi. Okay, for all purchases, organizing.
Mr. R. Akash.
Sometimes you are empowering yourself.
Mr.
One note about Rafi, he has presented his paper in an international conference recently. A Vijiki show happened in Delhi.
Correct?
He will make his presentation one day. We will arrange for that.
Yes.
R. Akash.
Akash. Chose the difficult side to argue.
Miss Jilly Anne Maria Brito. Miss Adire M.E.
Good.
Miss Adire M.E. Mr. Shevak Selva.
Good.
Miss Rakshana. Miss Rakshana. Mr. Bhuvaneshwar.
Rohit M.
Last one.
Ms. Akshaya S.
Yeah. Last but not the least, she was the pillar of the entire program. She took initiative to talk with every delegate and also to act as a liaison between me and the delegates. Okay, that is a really appreciative work. The way of arrangement, she has made Israel, United States, Saudi Arabia to sit together. How specific she is in his organization, that is reflected in the arrangement of seats. Really happy for you. I appreciate.
ஆக்சுவலாக அக்ஷய்ட்ட வந்து அந்த ஆர்கனைசிங் ஸ்கில்ஸ் வந்து நிறையவே இருக்குது. இது ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு டீம் லீடர் ஆகிறதுக்கான ஒரு அற்புதமான ஒரு டீமை லீட் பண்ணுறதுக்கான ஒரு அற்புதமான ஒரு கேரக்டர்ஸ் வந்து யூ ஹாவ் ரிஃப்ளெக்டட் டுடே. ஆல் தி பெஸ்ட். கீப் இட் அப். ஆக்சுவலாக ஒரு இந்தியன் எக்ஸ்பிரஸ் வந்து எப்போவுமே வந்து நம்ம ஒரு கான்க்ளேவ் நடத்துவாங்க. யூ நோ வெரி வெல் ரைட். நம்ம அகாடமிலேருந்து எப்போயுமே ஒரு மினிமம் ஒரு 10 மெம்பர்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம வந்து ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணுவோம். இந்த வருஷம் நம்ம நிறைய பேர் போகிறது மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு. பட் அகெயின் வி ஹவ் காட் ஒன்லி ஒரு 10 டெலிகேட் பாஸ் மட்டும் தான் கிடச்சிது. ஏன்னா நம்ம தான் அந்த ப்ரோக்ராமுக்கு ஸ்பான்சர் பண்ணுறதுக்காக ட்ரை பண்ணோம். எப்பயுமே இவ்வளோ வந்து ஸ்பை எல்லா கண்ட்ரிலும் வச்சுருக்க மாதிரி நம்ம அகாடமிலையும் ஒரு ஸ்பையை வச்சு நம்ம காம்படிட்டர் என்ன பண்ணிட்டாங்க, அவங்க ஸ்பான்சர் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஓகே, அதனால் எனக்கு கோவம். அதனால் நான் வந்து என்ன பண்ணிட்டேன், இந்த முறை வந்து நான் வந்து வி ஆர் நாட் கம்மிங் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டேன். பட் இருந்தாலும் இங்கே இந்த டெலிகேட்ஸ்லாம் பேசுகிற அந்த ஸ்பீச்லாம் பார்க்குறப்ப ஒரு 10 பெஸ்ட் கேண்டிடேட்ஸை நம்ம ஃபில்டர் பண்ணி நம்ம அந்த ப்ரோக்ராமுக்கு நம்ம அனுப்பணும்னு நினச்சேன். நான் அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்ம அனுப்பலைன்னு நேற்று நான் சொல்லிட்டேன். பட் டுடே ஐம் டெல்லிங், இப்போ கிங் மேக்கர்ஸ் ஐஏஎஸ் அகாடமிலேருந்து 10 டெலிகேட்ஸ் வந்து தே ஆர் கோயிங் டு ரெப்ரசென்ட். ஓகே, ஸோ இவங்க அத்தனை பேருக்கும் வந்து நான் ஸ்பெஷல் பாஸ் வாங்கி கொடுக்குறேன் நான். ஸோ ஐடிசி கிராண்ட் ஷோவில் 28 and 29 நினைக்கிறேன். அந்த டேட்ஸ் வந்து எல்லாமே கொடுப்போம், உங்களுக்கு கோஆர்டினேட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. ஸோ யூ கேன் கோ தேர். அந்த டாபிக்ஸ் எல்லாம் நான் டிஸ்கஸ் கொடுக்குறேன் நான் உங்களுக்கு. எவ்ரி டைம் நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் போயிட்டு தே யூஸ் டு இன்ட்ராக்ட் வித் பேனல் மெம்பர்ஸ். சசி தரூர், இந்த மாதிரி ஈவன் எக்ஸலன்ட் ஃபைன் மினிஸ்டர், இந்த மாதிரி கிரேட் ரிசோர்ஸ் பர்சன் யூஸ் டு கம் தேர். ஸோ கோ வித் த வெல் ப்ரிப்பரேஷன் அண்ட் இன்ட்ராக்ட் வித் பேனல் மெம்பர்ஸ் and bring back the glory to our academy. Okay, all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Ms. Pavadani MK to present the vote of thanks, followed by the national anthem.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to the Managing Director of Kingmakers IS Academy, Mr. Bhuminathan sir, for his presence and for encouraging us with his support. A heartfelt thank you to our distinguished panelists, Mr. Satyapal Deepak sir and Mr. Junaid Ahmed sir, for their insightful contributions that added immense value to this discussion. I also wish to thank our esteemed faculty members for taking the time to join us and share their expertise. Additionally, I would like to thank all the delegates for their presence. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the organizing team for their seamless efforts in making this event a grand success. Lastly, a big thank you to the audience for your participation. Thank you, everyone. Now, I request you to stand up for the national anthem.
Students, we have a quiz competition on Feb 10th. I think you have all received the post on the groups. February 20th, Arun sir is conducting a quiz competition. Registration is open to all. Please refer your friends in the other institutes as well. It is not only to our institute. Matta colleges matta academies participate. We have already conducted one quiz competition. I think you might have participated. There's another competition happening this 10th. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you.